Hello, everybody. My name is Jimmy Hessler, and this is my Capstone video defense. So, my research question is: how has bilingual education been implemented historically in the United States, and how do contemporary bilingual programs support the identities of third culture kids? I chose this because I teach Spanish. I've also taught French in the past. And this is something that just really intrigues me because I work with a lot of third culture kids. And a lot of times, the biggest question is a question of identity, living in limbo between many different cultures and trying to figure out uh, who are they and where do they belong. So in my literature review, I really split it up into four parts. The first part was just a historical timeline that just goes over what different languages have been implemented into the American curriculum and why over time. Second, contemporary bilingual education in the US. So, really, this comes down to transitional versus dual programs. Transitional being really programs that are focused on teaching students English so that they can then go into a math, history, science classroom in English and be successful. Dual being really focusing on cultural competencies and focusing on a true bilingual education and learning content subjects in Spanish and in English. Um, Third, I looked at what is success in bilingual education. What is the difference between short term and long term success? A lot of the research that is done is based on short term success and the fact that there's not much difference between transitional and dual programs in the short term, which means in the matter of actually being able to be successful on tests, on things like Common Core tests. So there hasn't seen much difference between transitional versus dual. But if you look at long-term effects, the research that has been done on that, bilingual dual programs have many more positive effects in terms of cognitive flexibility, working memory, executive functioning, familial relationships, more likely to go to college, less likely to drop out of high school, more likely to secure high-level jobs in the workforce. And then lastly, just the difficulties. What are the difficulties that are at play when talking about bilingual education? So, in terms of my methods, the way that I conducted my research, I did all qualitative interviews. I interviewed three different students who are all from very different backgrounds, but who are all third culture kids, but who arrived at the US at different points or who were born in the US, but parents from different countries. I also interviewed one parent from Brazil whose son was born in the USA, and two teachers. So, one who was a dual language teacher in Wyoming, and another who was a Spanish as a foreign language teacher in Boston. They were done either in person in Boston or through Zoom. And the challenges were time constraint and language barrier. And language barrier, especially in the case of where I work now, a lot of my students are from Haiti and Ethiopia, and parents don't always speak conversational English. So, in order for me to have conducted interviews with them, there would have been a language barrier, which is why I didn't conduct interviews with them. The results. So I split that up between students, parents, and teachers. Um, Students essentially don't feel that there's enough done to root out cultural ignorance from both teachers and other peers, that some cultures are overrepresented while others aren't spoken about at all. But thirdly, most importantly, that being bilingual is a key aspect of their identity and will help them succeed in the future. For parents, there was kind of a little bit of a difference between students, and that parents saw that it wasn't necessarily the school's job to teach cultural understanding, that they felt that that was kind of the role of the parents. And then for teachers, biggest thing is that they thought that these bilingual classes are very positive both for native English speakers and native Spanish speakers, but because they represent such a different level of Spanish, it's kind of hard to figure out what does success mean in this classroom. For my analysis and next steps, I chose three. First, that there should be more professional development for teachers about multiculturalism, inclusivity, and restorative justice. Second, that there always need to be more parent engagement from schools in order for students to be successful. And third, that more resources are necessary that are going to allow schools to develop individual curriculum that represents their specific contexts and can teach the realities of multiculturalism within their specific populations. So once again, that is my capstone video defense, and I very much look forward to discussing this with all of you very soon.